can also use break-even analysis to compare between different alternatives. Sama macam present worth analysis, future worth analysis, or even annual worth analysis. So basically, in using break-even analysis, you have to convert all the cash flow into an equivalent annual worth, and then you can find the break-even point, and the equation with the highest slope is the one that you will select. Okay, let's look at the example. In this example, a small aerospace company are deciding to buy between either an automatic fit machine or a manual fit machine. So some cash flow values are given for the automatic fit machine, and some cash flow values are also given for the manual fit machine. So let us try to look at each of the information and extract it in a nicely constructed cash flow diagram. For the auto fit machine, given that it have a predicted life of 10 years and the initial cost is $23,000, given also the salvage value of $4,000 at the end of 10 years lah. Okay, and one person are required to operate the machine at a rate of $12 per hour. The expected output from this machine is 8 tons per hour. So there are also some annual and maintenance operating costs, which is expected to be about $3,500. So this is a cash flow diagram of the auto fit machine. As for the manual machine, given that it have a life of 5 years and it have no expected salvage value, the first cost is $8,000 and the output of this manual machine is 6 tons per hour, but it requires 3 workers, which costs $8 per hour for one person. Okay, the machine will also have an annual maintenance and operation cost of $1,500. So annual maintenance cost goes all the way up to 5 years. Okay, if all the projects are expected to generate a return of 10% per year, or the I is 10%, how many tons per year must be finished to justify the higher purchase cost of the auto fit machine? Okay, let us first look into the auto fit machine. So we know variable costs are cost yang tak menentu. So variable cost may include the cost of the manpower. So we know one manpower costs $12 per hour, and at 1 hour the output is 8 tons. Okay, so $12 for 1 hour for one manpower is equivalent to a production of 8 tons for 1 hour. So we want to know what is the value, the V, the small v, the variable cost for 1 ton, bukan 1 ton ni, 1 ton, okay, for 1 ton of unit. So you have to divide $12 with 8 tons. Okay, you just bawa dia ke bawah lah. So the variable cost for 1 ton is $1.5. So let's say if you want to measure for 1 whole year lah, so we put the 1 year punya period as X. So the variable cost will be 1.5X. Okay, so this X should be inclusive in your cash flow timeline juga. It's an additional cost over the annual maintenance and operating costs. Okay, now the next step is for you to perform the annual worth analysis. Okay, you need to convert all the cash flow into an equivalent annual worth value. So let us first convert the $23,000 into an equivalent annual worth by using the AP factor. The interest rate given is 10%, the period is 10%. And then if you want to convert the salvage value of $4,000, we have to multiply it using the AF factor. The interest rate is 10% and the duration of the years is 10. And then we have that $3,500 annual series. We don't need to multiply it with any conversion factor because it is already in annual series. And then don't forget the 1.5x. This is our variable cost. So we deduct with 1.5x and look for the AP and AF factor in the compound interest table, and you will get a final equation to be negative 6992 minus 1.5x. Okay, so if you look at this equation, you can visualize it is like the y equals to mx plus c punya equation, the linear line punya equation. So more or less you can visualize the response of the annual worth punya graph to be a linear line. Okay, as for the manual machine, we know there are 3 manpower which cost $8 per hour for one person, and the output for 1 hour is 6 ton. So kalau 3 manpower, the variable cost are 3 manpower multiply with the 8 hour each. Okay. So again, 4x is like an additional cost over the maintenance and operation activity. So the next step is for you to convert all the cash flow into an equivalent annual wealth value. So first, if you want to convert the $8,000, you have to multiply it with the AP factor. The interest rate given is 10%, and this time is for 5 years. And then there is the annual series of $1,500. You don't have to multiply with any conversion factor because it is already in annual series. And then there's the negative 4x punya value. This is your variable cost. Okay. So if you look for the AP factor in the compound interest table, you recalculate the equation and you will generate a new equation of negative 3610 minus 4x. Okay, so x is actually measurement for 1 year. Okay, now the next step is you have to find the break-even point between these two alternatives. Okay, so we already know the equation of the annual worth for the automatic machine and also for the manual machine. So you just samakan dia because you want to see dia punya intersection point dia tu dekat mana. Okay, so negative 6992 minus 1.5x, this is from our previous solution, and also for the equation for the manual machine. Okay, now you just rearrange the equation to be x to be on one side and then the numerical value to be on the left side, and you can calculate the x to be 1382.8 tons. Now you compare the equation between auto machine and manual machine. Okay, so as I said previously, this equation is sama dengan linear equation, y equals to mx plus c. That m is the slope of the line. Okay, so slope of automatic machine, the slope for the equation for the automatic machine is 1.5, whereas the slope for the manual machine is 4. Okay, the higher the slope, lagi cerun dia. Okay, if we are to redraw the diagram in the graph over here, our manual machine tu dia ada 4 kan, so slope dia lagi tinggi daripada auto slope. If you still having a hard time to visualize the effect of the slope, let's imagine with this ski person kan, dia main ski, dia turun dekat slope. So between manual line and auto line, you think which line akan buat dia jatuh lagi laju? So definitely manual line because the slope is higher. That's what it meant by the slope. So the intersection between the manual and the auto equation is the break-even point with the quantity of 1,352 tons per year. So how do you make decision from here? Okay, the output is expected to exceed 1,353 tons per year, and based on this equation, we would choose the one with the lower slope, which is the automatic machine. Pasal apa? Because the lower the slope, it means the variable cost is lower. If you can imagine, for automation dia cuma require 1 manpower walaupun dia mahal, but then the total variable cost is much lower than the manual cost. So as a decision, we would choose the automatic machine because the value of the slope, which is 1.5, is lower than the slope of the manual machine, which is 4. Okay. Okay guys, as the tutorials are not provided for this chapter, why don't you try out these two exercises? Okay, you can refer the question from the PDF file, and you can also refer to the solution in the PDF file. Okay, so please try these two questions.